So here's the rinse off station. We've got a big paver. Welcome to another weekend here up at the tent. I guess we should call it, since we have the official name, Peaceful Pines. Gonna get the tent opened up, see if anything is out of place. Had a big storm up here Wednesday night, and the tent appears to be in good shape on the exterior, so we'll see what we have on the interior. Oh, hello, frog. Go on. A lot of frogs up here. Apparently it's because of the sandiness of the soil. Everything looks okay. No water hanging in the rafters. The stove appears to be maybe, well, I don't know. Everything looks to be okay. I don't think it would have gotten moist because the rain as tight as that is sealed around there. So, all right, I'm going to pull the wagon out, go down to the car, get the stuff, and then I've got a number of things I want to get done, and we'll see how much we get done tonight and tomorrow before I leave. One of the first things I want to do is get the kerosene out of this lamp and put in the lantern, and then I've got this clear lamp oil that I'm going to feel a lot better burning in the tent rather than the kerosene, even though the windows are open and all that goes along with that. So I've got a wick here. Let's see how apparently that wick has burnt out. Okay. I don't think I can use that wick. I got the wrong size wick, so I have to cut them down for the smaller lanterns. So to make it just easier, I'm just going to burn this, throw this in the fire, waste it, and then start out with clean dry wick so I'm not covered in kerosene. Instead of doing it on the table, I'm going to do it on the bucket so I don't get the table all covered in kerosene. So I had the wick somewhere here, and the scissors. So these are, I think, like ½ inch, and these are almost full inch. So I got to cut them in half. It's going to be a little rough, but it will work. Primitive. The cap came off, so I'm just going to leave it off because I'm not going to be able to get back on. Okay. Now I need the funnel. This was the other one we got at Goodwill. Happened to be there at the right time. It's a smaller one, but it does illuminate the trail, or illuminate the back of the camp at night when we're at. And there is a freeze point on it. This is a clear. I got the clear even though the red said smokeless and all this other stuff. On the back it said freezes at 45 degrees, and we're going to be up here when it's 45 degrees. So I wanted to, this one doesn't say anything about freezing at any temperature, which paraffin wax oil will freeze at 15, but this is not paraffin wax oil, so I'm just wanting something that's less potent than kerosene. even though we're in a ventilated tent. A very warm day today, warmest that we've been up here. I've been up here, anybody's been up here. 82 with a low of 6. The purpose of that is so I can put a post in there when I'm cooking. I'll put a couple of nails on 3 sides so I can hang my utensils and I don't have to throw them on the table or set them next to the fire. I can hang them up, and then when I'm done I can pull it out, and the pipe is beneath soil grade, so we're not going to trip on it. So just an old broom handle. This is a piece of broom handle. Well, it's a piece of one of them things that you put Christmas lights on. It's got threads on both ends. Had it in the attic, found it, never used it, but this will be a good application for it. So, and then when we're done, just pick it up, put it over by the tree, and it's all said and done. So that's the way it's supposed to be, but I cook on that side where the grate is, so I should have put it over there, and that's where I'm going to move it now. So you've seen what it is supposed to look like, so that's where it's going to be permanently, over there. So my next project, I want to put on the back of the wagon these eye hooks, or these hooks here, so when I'm hauling stuff back down to the car, or non-wood items, stuff doesn't want to fall out of the back end, as I've noticed things have done. So I've got bungee cords here, and if I put it like that, it'll work just fine for wrapping around. So I don't have the right drill bit, so I'm going to kind of partially drill in with this, what is it, 7/8 bit, top here, inside both sides, and then screw this in without splitting the pine, and then we'll put it together, and I'll show you what it looks like when I'm done. Okay, so I've got the hooks on both sides. They do come out in here, but for what little bit that they protrude, I don't think they're going to be a problem. And I just would drill from both sides and just know where I drilled on this side and just eyeball it and match it up so the holes were in sync there. Alright, so we've got these 2 bungee cords. They don't have to be super tight, they just need to be like a gate. And I guess I could do, hook it there, but then you're compromising a good portion, so I figured this would be the best way. Now, I think that's probably going to work there. Let's see if this will fit through. I'm going to have to make them bigger. This is the back of a swivel chair that I'm going to use as part of a gate. I'll run this cord through, and then that will be the top portion. That'll just help prevent anything from falling out, and then these can be removed when I'm not moving our stuff around. So I need to cut these out a little bit. Alright, that should do, yep. And run that through there. I don't know why we couldn't do it on the bottom one too. Let's try that. Oh, I see, okay. I need to run it the same way here. So that will catch anything that may be trying to fall out. Just a makeshift, easy little backstop that you may not have the parts for, but I had the stuff sitting around. So that will work for hauling stuff back and forth. That may even work good for brush too. I may just leave that on there for right now, and then when I'm ready to dump, I just open that up. So that's another project that is done. If you like this kind of activity, primitive, dry camping, tent camping, be sure to subscribe, and we will go on to the next project I have on my list. Okay, so brought some more wood up, got some chopped. This was from the tree that we cut down last week that you saw. If you didn't, check that video out. I gotta go back over in that direction and get that much more of a pine tree that had dropped, and some of it was punky, but a good portion of it was good. So I'm gonna go get another cart full of that and now take care of that cut wood that I've got down and used or ready to use. Always have more wood than you ever think you need, because you can always use it, but it's difficult to go get it if it's dark or there's snow on the ground. So always have plenty of wood piled up. We've got some there, there, there. I want to have some between that tree, have some between those trees. I'd like to have 10 times what I've got here, so I have plenty of wood. It's just a matter of getting a couple of carts every time I come up, and eventually it'll add up. So I'll go get that wood and get it back over here, and if I can split it, I'll split it. If not, at least it's here. I'm not going to run the wood stove. I want to test the wood stove and see if it vents, everything works well, but it's quite warm right now. It's 75-ish Fahrenheit. What is that, like 25 Celsius, something like that. So that's what I'll do, and then that might be all the projects I get done for the night. Might just sit around the fire, piddle around, do a few other things here that I can do at camp, and then sight the bow in tomorrow. I wanted to work on cutting some more of that tree down, get a little shower pad put together and get the components for that completed. And that might be about, I want to go out to the 2 trail cameras and download that footage to the laptop, because we had a lot of activity this week, and I want to see, we had a really nice buck on the camera we just put up last Sunday, which we had a deer appear on the camera within 30 minutes of me coming out of the woods. And then this other, on the other side of the property, we had a spike buck and a couple of smaller does multiple times. So that's what I'll do, and I'll check back in with you. Okay, so there is the load. The top one is really punky, but there's some, that'd be a good campfire wood, not necessarily stove. Bottom ones are better, but this was the worst of the bunch. That was the good stuff, and I figured if it's at least 50% solid, I was going to take it. So that's a heavy, even though it's pine, it is wet because it's been laying on the ground, so I'll get that chopped. And the stuff that I chopped last week on the surface is considerably drier than what it was when I split it, so it'll burn hot for sure. So that's the second load of the day. This is the first big load. I had a little bit over here that I brought up from that tree that I cut last week, and I'm going to get some more from down there tomorrow. Picked some raspberries and blackberries. They are on the small size, just because it's been super dry up here last week. We talked to the neighbor, and he said the raspberries are always typically very small. Blackberries, he has some that's much larger than what we have, for a variety of reasons, I assume, soil and location, but that's a few there, not many, but a few wild ones. Okay, having burgers that was made over the fire, homegrown tomatoes on bread, because I have a lot of bread, and don't need to buy buns, with mustard. Are you a mustard on your hamburger or a ketchup, or is both of them forbidden? So leave that in the comments if you've gotten this far, and we'll continue on with our journey this weekend. And if nothing happens tonight, I will see you in the morning. Got up, had pancakes and hash browns. Didn't show you that. You know what that looks like. Working on a rinse-off pad area. We're going to have a table here with the rinse kit, and then a place to put your leg up in order to rinse. And then over here is going to be a couple of about 2-inch thick disc or chunks off a tree as a walk-off pad, so your feet can dry before you get on the soil there. So that's still in the making. The pad is, I don't think, quite level, but I don't think you're going to notice it. It's not a patio or anything, but that's where we're at now. And if I get time later this afternoon, I'll finish cutting the pieces that are needed from the tree down by the pond that we worked on last week. So I am going to now work on sighting in at least 10 and 20 yards on the bow, preferably 30s, and that's where I'm standing here, to get that pretty much dialed in, because bow season will start in less than a month here in Wisconsin. Okay, so we're shooting low and to the left. So that means that I need to lower the target, or the sight, and move it to the left. In archery, whichever way you're off, you move it in that direction. You would think you'd move it the opposite way, but you don't. If you're left, you move it farther left, and if you're down, you move it farther down, and that will bring things back up to where it needs to be. And then once we get sighted in at 10, everything else should kind of fall into place at 20 and 30, and if you choose to go to 40 or 50. I'd like to have a stand where I hang this. I just haven't got one made yet. I had one years ago back on the farm, but I've just not got to the point where I had time to make one. Okay, so I need to go down and to the left. Let's see if that helps. Still shooting in the same spot, so I've adjusted it again. I'm aiming right in that area. That's better. So now I just need to go up just a tad to get it. This would be considered the lungs. That's the heart. So I'm aiming right in this area. So I just got to go basically up just a little bit, and we'll try it again. All right. So we got to go up one more time. I'm trying to do minute adjustments, but apparently I'm thinking with a gun you got to kind of do a couple clicks in order to get things set up with a scope. With here, it's more of a larger adjustment in order to get it where it needs to be. All right, I will continue to fiddle with this and bring you back when I've got something more exciting. Oh, right where we want it. I'll shoot 3 more and see if the pattern still holds. Looking good. It's a little high. All right, have it, the spread, that's at 30 yards. It's a little high. Also, I've been shooting a lot, so I'm going to leave everything as is, and then next time I'm up here, which either is next week or in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I'll start at 30, because I know 20 and 10 is dead on, and then potentially try a 40 and see where that lies. There's no way I'm shooting 40 yards through the woods on our property, but 30 is the very maximum. 20 would be the most consistent distance. So that's where we're at on the archery target sighting in. Went down and cut more on that tree that we cut down last week. This is approximately another cart full. They're not completely full, but to pull them up the hill, they only can be about 3/4 full. That's all I can get weight-wise to pull up the hill. And there's another 3 to 4, maybe 5 carts down there, but it's entirely too warm to be pulling wood up the hill. It's about 80 degrees in the shade in the woods. So I'll get this unloaded and finish the rinse off area over there, and I'll show you that when I'm done. Okay, so here's the rinse off station. We've got a big paver, landscaping paver there, 20 inches by 20 inches. A stump to put your leg up so you can rinse off areas. And then the disc here is, after you dry off, your feet will dry off by the time you get to the dirt here. And then you can put your bucket here, or we have a rinse kit where we can add water and manually pressurize it up. And it has a nozzle, like a garden nozzle, where you can have multiple different settings and you can rinse off that way. So that is complete now. Not going to have any curtain or any privacy screen or anything like that. We're up on a hill. You'd be very easily able to hear somebody coming up. And around here, people are very respectful, and they don't go in places where they are not supposed to, because they don't know what they'll find. Well, that will do it for another weekend. Thank you very much for hanging out with me up here at the land. If you made it this far, let's put deer in the comments, D-E-E-R. Let me know that you made it this far. Thank you so much. I've got the campsite all closed up, security camera on, and we will see you next time.